Hello everybody, welcome. Today I'm gonna make a video about a controversial topic, but no long preambles, let's jump right in.
Pornography.
Okay, now you know what the controversial topic is.
Pornography is not just a private act, but a public health catastrophe.
Public health catastrophe. Probably the lady didn't hear about a global pandemic, a war, mental health crisis, and global warming. I don't know, probably. And besides, this video came out a few days ago, like 10, 15 days ago. So it's not like it was in 2015 when all this drama was not going around. And another thing, you may think, why am I talking about pornography? Usually I talk about relationship, marriages, divorce, and so what pornography has to do with it. So probably nothing. What I'm gonna say that these topics sometimes are related to how we see relationship, how to see romantic relationship, how we see sexuality, which is an important part of relationships. According, I believe, and so let's. And she will talk about something about that, but also probably I will give some comments about pornography itself, my opinion.
Since the dawn of the internet.
Okay, it's not since the dawn of the internet. So, wait, it's not since the dawn of the internet, because pornography was booming, was there since long time. I remember I was in elementary school and my peers were already accessing some material, some video in some form in TV and printed material, comics, pictures, photo novels. And yeah, so the was there before. Besides, I don't have the sources for this, but I heard saying that the World Wide Web and the VHS videotape format, they boomed. They were successful because through them there was access of pornography. So it was pornography that supported the booming, the adoption of this technology like the internet and videotaping, and this particular format of videotaping among all the competitors' formats. It's not the other way around, that this technology enabled pornography. Anyway, so let's see if I can.
Pornography has become a normalized part of secular culture.
No, it is not. So I don't think that I go outside and ask somebody, "Oh, borrow me some pornographic material," or how do you think that movie, or what do you think would make some tape together about a porno tape? It's not like anybody will easily admit of doing. While the other, there is some professional that have good opinion about pornography, and there are some most professional that are not in favor of pornography. But so there are, and there is some aspects of life and media that are normalizing pornography, but it's not widespread normalized.
And a hidden part of the lives of many men and women of faith.
Yeah.
I would know. I was one of those women.
Yeah.
If you know someone addicted to porn use.
So that's the problem. So she is starting to say that many people are affected by pornography, but now she says addiction. Now I agree that addiction is something to take care, but it's not pornography itself. It's a public. So before she said pornography is a public health catastrophe. The mere usage of porn is not a big problem. Now we can have our opinion. It's good, it's bad, it's morally unacceptable, it's immoral, is a waste of time, is discrimination, is all of these things. It's good, is good education. Anything. So I'm not condoning or condemning pornography. Now, addiction, like all addictions, smoke, nicotine, drugs, but also sugar, food, These are addiction, and Netflix is one addiction. I mean, Netflix, I say TV in general. So we always blame Netflix when it comes to binge watch. But I mean, TV and staying on the couch. These are all addiction. Also, swiping on dating apps and Tinder, that could be an addiction. So you like swiping but never get into a relationship. Anyway, so these are all bad. And I won't go into definition of addiction, but let's see some details here.
Imagine your brain, a complex organ intentionally designed to make a free and pleasant life possible. That design is undermined and altered when we watch pornography. It physically affects the development of the decision-making part of your brain, interfering with normal social behaviors.
Intentionally designed. I mean, let's say that it's designed intentionally. I mean, by operation of God or by the universe design. That's true. That's how the addiction works on the brain. But it's not like you watch one single image of porn and you're doomed. Like as alcohol, sugar, it's not that you are automatically addicted. There are some substances that are highly addictive, like nicotine and other recreational drugs, but not all addiction are based on rapid impact on the brain.
If you know someone addicted to porn use, and direct them to reputable Catholic ministries that provide the types of support needed.
Why Catholic ministers? Why not Muslim ministers or so? No, but we're probably what I want to say. Why not psychologists? If you have a mental issue, we talk about brain. You go to your therapist, not to the ministry. So what's the risk? So you go to the ministry and you not only have the issue of the addiction, and you also expose them to the criticism of the spiritual minister or priest that gonna shame you and label these things like sinful, which we may decide we may agree that it is a sin or not. I mean, let's agree on it. Even so, I mean, you just go to get the repentment with the ministry. It's not that you go solve the addiction with these people. For those who believe God could be a good help in the spiritual way to help that, but then you need also go to a specialist, not to a minister that know everything about all about everything. Besides, I also want to say that sometimes the confession, so for who's not Catholic, the confessional is the place where the confession occurs, which is the place where the believer express their sins and ask for forgiveness and receive the forgiveness from God. In some other Christian religion, you can just repent and be forgiven by God directly without the confession. But in many cultures, at least where I come from, the confession was often confused with a therapy session. People, I went there to confess my few sins and ask for forgiveness to my God, and so there was the usually elderly lady that spent like 30 minutes and say, "You're old, you don't go out anyway. What kind of sin can have you?" And so basically, these older women were, with the due respect, they felt lonely and they want to gossip a little bit and to use the confession as a therapy session. But I don't know, it's not my idea that it was for. So you understand if you're, the worst thing, understand if you're doing good or well, or by the way, just you express your mistakes, you admit your mistakes, you get your penance, and go ahead with your life and try not to sin again. So so this confusion. So don't get this advice, get help, but not necessarily and only from Catholic or religious ministry, also go to specialists like a therapist or eventually a life coach specialized in.
It doesn't matter if you're raised in a devout home, Catholic educated, or instilled with strong values. Pornography at one time or another comes to tempt all of us.
So speak for yourself, because I don't think that it affects everybody, because probably there are some men. The statistics say 30% of men. They haven't used pornography recently, and most women don't, to my understanding. Although there are controversial statistics about that, but yeah. But I agree that many people are affected by or exposed to pornography, or they look for pornography every now and then.
But porn isn't just prevalent among adults. The average age American children begin consuming hardcore pornography is 11 years old, with 4 out of 5 16-year-olds regularly accessing porn online. The younger someone starts using porn, the more long-lasting damage to the brain is done.
Okay, so I agree that if you have an addiction from young, it's more difficult to overcome, because you start to make damage with an addiction, damage to the brain, wiring the brain the wrong way. So to unwire a brain that was wired as at a young age, when the brain is very active, is more difficult than have to unlearn some bad behavior, some bad addiction mechanism that are gonna. But again, she's confirming that most all children admit that they have seen or they have looked for pornography. But even if you remove pornography altogether, then these guys, they're young, 11, 12, 13, they have their hormones all over the place, exploding in their body, in their veins. They're seeking for sexual confirmation, sexual understanding. I know that pornography is not the best teacher, but it's something that they need to do. So pornography may be bad also for others, but this kid will look anyway picture of naked women or restricted movies, and so they will see, or they look in the in the lock hole to to or in the lockers room behind in the other room to to have some confirmation. And so so the children, one way or the other, will have access to some nudity or some action. And if they don't have access this way, probably they will get either frustrated with all this pressure, hormonal pressure, or they will express their frustration physically in another way. I want to stop here. Go ahead. So so this is also confirmation. So this movie, Cuties, Mignonette in French, is a French movie that was very criticized, not really for the story actually, but because the main criticism was there is 1 second of the scene where a minor character, probably acted by an adult actress, show a nipple in the video, in the movie. And because these little girls were they founded a dances group, modern dance, and they did twerking, so moving their booties very explicit. But this is still dances. That is some culture is a kind of accepted dancing. Some Latin culture, they do ballroom or couple balls dance that is very sensual in a let's say malicious or less malicious way, in a naive way, just an expression of movements or the confidence of their body and so on. And so this movie was criticized, but actually I admit that I liked the movie because it really showed the conflict of these little girls. Some of them there were in a family that were single parents or also um, multicultural families where there was some conflict inside. So their way to grab attention was by this infant. I mean, to me, it looked very naive, kind of self-sexualization. Something that at their age, I observed in my peers, female peers, that they were dressing, and it was the 80s. It was not really. There was no heels, that very little mini skirts when the late 80s, 90s, but still they dress in bodycon jeans. I mean, tight jeans and really try feminine, some makeup to expose their body, to express, to show up their physicality, their desire, their growing up, coming of age. So
porn has become increasingly more mainstream, more accessible, more explicit, and more violent.
I don't know how porn can become more explicit. So porn is by definition that you show everything. So more accessible, probably yes. So people had to struggle less to access it. It's not that less people access to it, just that there is less struggle.
The grip that porn has on our culture is staggering. 70% of American men say they have viewed porn. Continued porn use increases your sense of isolation, aggression, and loneliness.
Okay, yeah, so I agree with the isolation and loneliness, because if you increase the porn use, you lose the opportunity to socialize. But sometimes, you don't have the opportunity to socialize, so this is all another topic. But aggression, I don't really agree. I don't have a resource or statistics to support my opinion, so this is an opinion. But let's go ahead and...
In addition to modifying the reward center of your brain, requiring more and more usage and more graphic and violent imagery.
Okay, I agree, more usage, because when it comes to addiction, not when it comes to a regular sporadic use once a month or once a year, even once weekly, is not really that. It depends. So, but violent imagery, I don't think so. Here we are confusing causation with correlation. I agree that some people that express a violent attitude to sex, sexuality, and the other sex, or the same sex, is if this is the case, is can have also some exposure or addiction to porn. But I don't think that is porn that is causing the violence. It's violent people goes to porn. And also, if you go to any of the free porn portal, I heard about it. It's not that I go there. If I go, it's for scientific purposes. So if you see the most of the porn portal directory, you see that there are 50 topics of kind of a genre of topics of porn stories. So stories: romantic, naked, dressed, chubby, beautiful, big woman, the several kind of acts and gangs, more people, gay, everything. And the violent part is only a specific one or two topics. I would say one, honestly, because they usually is everything categorized under the BDSM, which is sadomasochism. I don't remember how to say, and bondage. So like tied together, and also tied together is not necessarily violent by itself. So there is, and besides, and I have something to say about it. So I think that it's people that already are violent for some reason, nature or nurture, then can be they can like porn, but not that because they watch porn they become violent.
Just as with the use of addictive drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, so
We know that regular use of pornography leads us to objectify others, especially women, and heavily influences how we see our own sexuality.
I mean, this is true to some extent, because when we see, I mean, some of the porn content, not that I heard about it, so it's not that I'm an expert by personal experience. So some of the porn, by definition, make women look more submissive and more, dominant to some extent. But is this because of porn? Because porn can be anything. As I said, there is at least 50 categories, and of these categories, some are dominance, where the woman is dominant, or is a mistress that dominates other women or dominates men as well. So it could be not balanced. But why there is this categorization? It's not because porn, it's some government agency that want to teach you how to diminish women or devalue women. It's the free market law. More people want to see this kind of stuff, and more content is done with this kind of stuff. So if women want to see other women be submissive, they will watch that. If men want to see men that are muscular, but I can tell you that men don't care about anything. I mean, don't give a damn about the men in the movie. They only look at the women. So let's go ahead. So let's try to contextualize.
What may surprise you is how widespread pornography is among women. At least 1 in 3 porn viewers are women, and research also shows that pornography use in women.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, I admit, because I thought 1 in 10, 1 in 20 women would watch porn, and in particular with particular sexuality. But anyway, so if she says so, I don't have any doubt to
At least one.
to context her sources on this topic, so it's believable.
At least 1 in 3 porn viewers are women, and research also shows that pornography use in women increases the likelihood of those women accepting or even preferring violent sexual behavior from their partners. The bottom line, pornography cultivates a penchant for violence in men and teaches women in turn to expect violence and even fantasize or desire it.
So pornography don't teach anything, because pornography is fiction. It's not a document. I mean, there is a part of documentary because being done with a real actor, so there is some reality, at least, of physical body, and some people can find that part is a teaching, because there is not many way to watch a naked body in action nowadays. But I mean, other than that, I mean, not that all kind of acts that are done in porn contact movies and pictures are really realistic per se in the action. But again, pornography doesn't teach anything, because it's fiction. So it's like to say, if I watch a sci-fi movie, then they teach that car flies, or or if I watch a superhero movie, they teach that there are people that spit fires from their eye and they can lift tall buildings and they fly in the space and they breathe in the cosmic space and so. So it's not that teach. That's fantasy, and the most people, healthy people that watch this stuff too, they understand that fiction, their fantasy. There's some inspiration in there, like everywhere, but it's not that they think they teach. And again, the fact that women desire violence is not because the pornography, because of the pornography. It's not causation or correlation, it's correlation. So is that because women want to watch that kind of or they instinctively or subconsciously have this relationship with violence, then they go watch that kind of content. Some because some maybe watch that content only because they like it. It's like watching a horror movie. Again, it's another example of fiction that we don't think that horror movie is real. It's just we go there because we need that adrenaline to go there, but then we go out of the theater and we are good. I mean, we don't go around, scaring of fighting ghosts and okay. Anyway, so it's the kind when women have an unhealthy attachment to violence, unless they just want to spend fun time, they may be attracted to this kind of content porn. It's not that porn teaches anything. But besides teaching, in this kind of attitude of condoning and normalizing submission or bad attitude. How is porn different from the beauty, the bold and the beautiful, or the Kardashians, or the Grammy Awards? So I think that also there's some way that the women are presented and meant to, that are, I would say, questionable, and I don't see much difference from this. And this is accessible. I mean, any kid can switch on these channels and watch this questionable. I mean, no criticism for the people who watch these shows and this media just for fun, because it can be fun to laugh or to about after these shows. It doesn't mean that they find you the way they are.
Now that we know this is such a prevalent problem with devastating effects, what can be done? How can we as people of faith respond? We must become more vocal and involved in protecting our communities, and especially children, from the harmful effects of pornography.
Yeah, we need to protect children from the effect of pornography. I mean, if you tell me, I would prefer that they don't watch this kind of or they let's go ahead.
Parents need to have open discussions about pornography with their kids.
So we said that 70% of men and one or three women. Of the user, 1/3 are women. So it means that 35% of women also watch porn. So and this is prevalent. It's widespread. So how an adult that most likely is exposed and has effect from porn, she's claiming. So I don't support this statement, but she claims that most adults are somehow involved in porn. How they can teach what to do with children themselves, so before they solve their problem. So because if the adult is already affected by porn, how can they be credible toward the children? If they don't know well about porn because they don't like it and they haven't seen, how can they understand and put themselves in the child's shoes? How to tell them? Yeah, so it's very controversial. So again, what I would do with my children, and I have done with my children, have conversation with them about sexuality, about porn, about what you find on the internet, about all scams and this. But yeah, just you talk about it and you try to be you try to be consistent and what's the word? I'll edit this part, but to say coherent with what we do, so they find you credible and they feel what to do, but without being too judgmental on the topic. And besides, if they say that almost all children, 4 out of 5 children, so 80% of children, but I probably almost everybody is watching porn in a way or another. If I ask my children, hey, are you watching porn? They say no. Oh, are okay, because everybody does, so probably there's something wrong with you. Why you don't like you're not growing up anyway. So it's I would be worried if they don't have the push to know more about sexuality. So then there could be another solution. I may agree on that.
Many psychologists are now saying it's not about if, but when your child is exposed to porn, making it all the more necessary for parents to establish a clear, safe connection on the subject. We cannot assume that our kids haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, as I said, so if you ask your children, they say no, or they're lying, or they're not okay, because I mean, not that is wrong.
Even if they are in the most faithful schools or household, like I was.
So see, even if we told to them, and the priest told to them, and the Catholic education or spiritual education teach to them, and all this stuff, they're gonna do whatever, especially when they're teenagers. They have their own instincts, bad or good. Better that they express health in a healthy way. But yeah, I agree that there should be but on everything, a good discussion and credibility from the parent talking about this topic, as well as all the other topics that are critical for the children, like bullying and studying and being respectful and so on. What else?
To install device filters and enact pornography bans more broadly.
Okay, enact pornography ban. So they may help. I have my filter on my Wi-Fi, so to limit a little bit. But they're children. They know technology way more than us, and I am a computer engineer, and still I realize that to install and to set up all these plugins on all the devices a full-time job. Really, it's not sustainable. So it's more important that we teach them, was it bad or good. Not even bad or good. What is the effects or the implication of some stuff like porn, and I mean, hoping their judgment. I mean, like we survived, so they will survive at that if they have a good role model, a good point of reference in their families and their communities. But yeah, so banning is like you ban porn, and then you watch the Grammys or watch a movie, and they will find some R-rated movie or X-rated movie. So it's not gonna work. I mean, they will sneak out, and I mean, this is just I came up with this. I mean, I just decided to share this, but I mean, this is something that I prefer that my children tell me what they do before they do or after they done, if they decide that they say yeah dad, they become yes babies, and then they sneak out without me knowing. So it's better that we have a honest conversation with them. So yeah, I don't know if I were clear the connection between relationship and sexuality. Sexuality. I hope that in all things, so this is to say that in relationship, sexuality is an important part of sexuality, and learning about women and men needs and aspiration is important. So also, also talking openly if you have an excess of porn usage to your partner would be important. Like communication is very important, but also sexuality is important, and for many people depends on what their love language is. Also physical touch and intimacy, they could be important. Let us not forget this kind of physical connection. Also money, probably some of the your partners or yourself are really into money in a healthy way, like working hard to get money, and this could be something that you want to share with your partner so they know everything about you. So yes, so let me know what you think about this. Probably in some part you agree with me, in some part you agree with the lady in the video, and some part you disagree. Let me know what do you think. If you want to know more, please subscribe to this channel or follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and come to my meetups and to my Facebook event. Stay tuned, and I hope that could help, or could be just have a funny conversation today with you. Thank you.